Hello again, this is Bad Bob the astronomer. What you're doing now is looking right inside the mirror cell area of the lower tube section of my telescope. I'm going to show you the 20-inch primary mirror if it will show up. You can see you can see it right there, sort of. It's reflecting the wall. You see that large white space there? That's plywood that's unpainted. And you can see the reflection in the mirror surface of the one white space is actually just on the wood. It's reflected in the mirror. The mirror is reasonably clean now. The same thing is down there. You can see the curve of the mirror right there. That's the actual 20-inch primary mirror you're looking at. Hopefully this will work all right. Now you're looking at the reflection of the tube that way in the mirror. I'm going to show you this. This is the elliptical secondary mirror right there. It's you can see the baffles down at the bottom of the tube, the light baffles. That's the little cage that holds the secondary mirror, and there's a giant spider with a wheel. You can see the wheel there. It doesn't rotate now because I've got the eyepiece in a really good location. In order to maintain collimation, I keep it permanently clamped like that, and it's also frozen in place by an extra bunch of blocks of wood to keep it kind of not very sturdy. So that's actually the wheel you're looking at now with the giant four-vane spider that holds that into place. And then that, now I'm going to show you a picture, if it'll show up, of the secondary mirror. I think you can see the reflection of the secondary mirror in there. Okay, you can see inside, there's the primary down there. You're looking right through the eyepiece holder, the vacant spot in it now. Okay, you can see that it's sort of collimated fairly well. You might be able to see the red light on the camera shining in the whole reflection of the whole thing. The collimation is a little bit off. When the telescope is aimed almost horizontally now because the wind has been strong right up till about now. So I can't really aim the thing upward too well unless the wind slows down, but I'll give you a look at it. There's part of the light baffle tube right there. Now I'll give you a look down this tube right here. Those should show you the light baffle that baffles the stray skylight from, you can see all the ridges down there on the tube. Those baffle light from reflecting off the inside plywood walls of the tube, and you're looking straight down at the secondary mirror. I don't know whether you can detect it or not, that there's a lot of ring light baffles all the way down the tube. Right now you're looking at the reflection of the eyepiece holder in the elliptical secondary mirror, which is very similar to a diagonal mirror in a Newtonian reflecting telescope. Okay, I'll give you a brief look at that, then I'm going to back off. There's a tube right there, and you can see the tube in relation to the primary mirror. It's fairly accurately adjusted. You could see the adjusting bolts right there. There's 4 of them that allow me to line up the baffle. I had to do that a few days ago. It was quite a job, and I had to put some. There was areas there that were gaps in the baffle tube. I had to glue in some more paper cardboard around that. It's just the type of black cardboard you get at a dollar store. Then I'm going to pan this around by almost 180 degrees. Just an accurate sweep, if I can do it, and show you how it goes right up into this baffle tube, which I can give you a look right down there. What you're seeing now, a little light spot way down there, is the 8-inch Gregorian secondary mirror. You can see some of the baffle structure right there. There's some dirt in there too. There's some spiders way down there. Unfortunately, I'm too lazy to get them out tonight, but they'll only block far less than 1% of the light. So that won't even show up when you're actually looking through the thing. It looks like it's not lined up very well, but it actually probably is. You can see that circular light area there. That's the actual Gregorian secondary mirror, 8 inches in diameter, down at the bottom of an 8-foot long baffle tube. So too bad I didn't get out better in a little bit more daylight, but there was too much wind. Now what I'm doing is just translating the camera sideways by a few inches, and what you'll see is the outside of the baffle tube materializing. And there it is right there. That's the baffle tube right there that we're just looking through. And you can see all the structure going down there that holds that into place. There's a couple of sets of rings there. I had to use a reinforcing ring. And I had to reinforce this with a couple of thin pieces of wood right there. One there that's clamped all into place, and one there. And then, even then, the baffle is tending to warp a little bit. If you look at it carefully, directly on the side, you could probably detect that the baffle tube itself is just sagging down just a little bit at the middle. But so far it's not serious enough to do any damage to the image as far as I can tell. I'm just going to back off this way. You can see this baffle structure right there blocks the light from coming into the secondary mirror near the eyepiece. There's a big baffle structure right there that's supported by a bar of, like, sort of a structure of wood up there. It was once adjustable, but now I've got it into the right spot. It seems to be okay, and that's just attached like to the main structure of the tube like that. Now you can see the whole structure of the baffle and all that down in that direction. This baffles the stray light extremely well when I'm looking at deep sky objects. The whole background sky seems really dark, even though I live in the middle of a modest-sized city. What I'm going to do now is give you another look down the eyepiece focuser. I'll withdraw that a little bit. You can see that the thing is fairly well aligned. It'll actually be better aligned when I'm aiming it upward. I think in a minute or so, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unclamp that thing and see if I can. The wind has almost died down. Another thing now, it's really getting pretty calm out, so I'm kind of encouraged by that. Well, there's still enough daylight. I'm going to aim that thing upward. You can see the hooks that hold the eyepiece holder in and stuff like that. And there's a look down the tube to see the primary mirror. Once again down there with a diagonal in front of it and stuff like that, and the four-vane spider that holds it into place. That's not a literal spider. That's what an optical term. It's a different thing than the spider that builds its web down my baffle tube. That's an actual spider that can, you know, it's an actual living object. So anyway, there's just these things right here. I put those on so it wouldn't actually, you know, damage myself by blasting into the thing. These are long bolts that help collimate the primary mirror. You can see that the mirror cell is tiltable right in that structure. I got the frame a little crooked initially, which really made it very difficult for me to do a final collimation, but there's one there, one up here near the top, and then on the other side, on the outside, I'll try and show that to you right now. There is a another collimating bolt with its head right there. See, there's a wing nut right there. You can sort of see it down there. And that's actually the third collimating bolt. And they're very stiff. They're hard to turn, but they actually will collimate the primary mirror. Okay, those three bolts right there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to put this tripod down and show you what happens when I take this thing off. I think it'll show up on the screen all right. This is going to be a really crude video. I must apologize for the quality of it. I'm just going to aim this camera down a little bit. Like about there. Hopefully that'll be all right. And I'm going to take this bar off because I think the wind has died down enough. The forecasts were very good for tonight, but it certainly was a frightening thing to see all that wind blowing around. Hopefully this will all balance out. It's not going to be quite balanced without the eyepieces in and stuff like that, but for now it should be okay to remove this. Hopefully. That's an old-fashioned clock drive with an ordinary friction clutch in it, and for a telescope of this size and with all the angular momentum involved and stuff like that, with such a huge mass of metal and mirrors and wood, there's really not enough friction to do a proper job to hold the thing together. Aha, it's unbalanced this way. I know why. It's because the cover is off the mirror cell. But I can just show you this. What I'll do is kind of hold it by hand and show you how the thing swivels up now while the video is running. Hopefully I can do this. I don't think this is a good idea. Whoa, it certainly isn't. Yep. You can see what happens when the thing is not balanced. What I'm going to do is put this back in. Like this. I forgot that the cover isn't on there. Whoops. Something is grinding away on the other side, bumping into something. That's always a lovely sound to hear when you have a telescope. There's something grinding away. It's not supposed to be doing so. I think it was that baffle just striking that cable there. I usually wind that cable all the way in. There's a cable dangling down there. I don't know if you can see it from the winch. And I forgot to wind it all the way in. I usually do that, but I just left my mind. So anyway, what you're going to see now is me putting this. I wanted to leave that off, come to think of it. I'm going to put this cover back on now. This goes in. See, the E's all match up. I don't know if you can see the E's there, but I just use those as lettering to be able to match up which side is which. Okay. Here it comes. Whoa. I think that'll be alright like this, and this kind of slides down into a more civilized location. There it goes. is a really crude telescope. Well, that should be balanced a little bit better, I think. With that piece of wood in there, that should do the job, hopefully. I'll see if I can clamp that thing. I would just like to give you a look at the telescope aiming way up in the sky. The wind has died down enough, I think I can do that right now. Now it looks like it's calming down for a bit there. The telescope is balanced well enough now that it'll stay put. Okay, what I'm going to do is move this bar down here to get out of the way. There's only a tiny little observatory too. It's really not pretty large enough for a large telescope like this. Okay, now I'll see how much time I have left on the video. I think it must be running out pretty soon. I recharged some really good batteries in this camera, so there should be enough battery power. Yeah, I've got a little bit of time left. What I'll do is I'll show you how the telescope swings with a handle. There's still a little bit of wind blowing around, so I'm going to have to be careful. The wind will just blow this thing all over the place if it gets aimed up in the sky, if there's much wind. I'm going to just aim the camera up there. I'm taking a hold of this handle. I'm just elevating the tube. I always do everything very slowly. You can actually watch this tube rise way up into the sky now. You can hear it, a little bit of creaking there. The music in the background, my next door neighbor is a member of a really good rock band. It's really fun to listen to him. They were doing a rehearsal tonight. I always enjoy it very much. So there, now the thing is swinging around in the wind. This is the 5-inch finder scope. This eyepiece holder has 2 mirrors in it, so that the image is not reversed from left to right. And with a really wide angle eyepiece in it, it's capable of having a 5-degree field in the sky, but the light gathering power is so great that it'll show 9th magnitude galaxies in the field of view with a little bit higher power eyepiece. And here is a finder scope that is made recently out of a zoom lens that I bought from secondhand from on eBay. It's an ancient zoom camera lens. It goes from 28 to 210 millimeters. When the final eyepiece is put in that finder scope, it'll go for approximately a little over 1 power to about 10 or 11 power at the maximum, which is very good. And this is an ancient finder that I don't use much anymore, but it's actually pretty reasonably good. It's got an 80 millimeter lens in it. And see, the wind is really wreaking havoc with this now, but if I can hold on to it, what I'm going to do is just take the camera over here and just give you a look at see how the collimation is coming along through here. Is there much time left on this? Yeah, there is. I'm going to show you it's almost collimated perfectly when aimed up at this altitude, but not quite, but it's pretty good. I don't think I need to change things too much to actually use it tonight. Now I'll just give you a look down the tube. You can see there's almost a round reflection down there, but not quite. So you actually look at the collimation of the whole optical system. What I'm going to do is aim it a little higher and see if I can get the collimation a little more accurate. Just a little bit of grass hanging down here from a spider web that I'm getting rid of right now. This observatory doesn't stay clean very long. That collimation is fairly good. It could be a little bit better, but it's not bad. Aimed way up like that, it's actually excellent. I'll give you a look right now. It's aimed almost overhead in the sky. Something just dropped down. I don't know what that was. Just a piece of spiderweb or dirt or something like that. Just plopped down into the mirror area from the upper tube section. I just heard it go. Okay, sorry this video is sort of rambling on so long, but this is very interesting to see how this is collimated and stuff. The camera is a little awkward to hold because it's still on the tripod, which tends to steady it a bit. Whoops, it's caught on my coat. There it goes. Now you can see a nice round circle down there. I'll try and hold this really steady for a minute. You can see the reflection way down there. You might be able to see the little red video light. I wonder if I could actually use a zoom with this. I'll see if I can zoom it in a bit. Just for fun. I think it can. Ah, there it goes. That is really neat. Now you can see the collimation is being fairly accurate. You see the black shadow in the center of that white, that sort of bright colored circle? That indicates that the collimation is very good. It's almost perfect right now. It's very hard to achieve with this telescope because the final focal ratio is f/25 and my collimating bolts are really crude, like they're really not very good. So now you're seeing right down the whole telescope tube, like right up, that bright area is actually a patch of open blue sky. The sun is not quite set yet, or it's getting very close to setting right now. So I'll give you a look at that for just a second. Let's see how much Yeah, that's almost expired by the 15 minutes, so I'll just cut it off right about now, okay? Here goes.